Hello, it's Christine Faulkner with Cava and Faulkner, Elk Grove Living Trust lawyer, Sacramento estate planning attorney, and thanks so much for tuning in to another edition of the Daily with Christine. So today we're going to talk about SB 95. This is a law that was just recently enacted as of, I believe it was March 19th, and will become effective March 29th. So today is the 26th, though we're talking about basically Monday. So I just became aware of this myself and I wanted to bring it to your attention. So if you're a California employer or if you're a California employee, this is a tidbit that you might like to be aware of having to do with COVID-19 and additional leave that you may be entitled to have. So first and foremost, who does SB 95 apply to? Well, you have to be an employer with 25 or more employees. So here's the thing. You're not required to pay any additional leave according to SB 95 if you have 25 or fewer employees. But if you choose to do so, then you will get a federal tax credit for going ahead and paying leave that you're not actually required to pay under SB 95. So SB 95 provides for COVID-19 supplemental paid sick leave for covered employees who are unable to work or telework due to certain reasons related to COVID-19. So some of the qualifying reasons include, they get this additional paid sick leave because they are subject to a COVID-19 quarantine or isolation required by local or state or federal governments. The employee has been advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine due to concerns related to COVID. The employee is attending an appointment to receive a COVID-19 vaccination, or the employee is experiencing symptoms related to COVID-19 vaccination. The employee is experiencing symptoms related to COVID-19 that prevent that person from either working or teleworking. Or finally, they are experiencing symptoms from COVID-19 and seeking a medical diagnosis. The employee is caring for a family member who is subject to a quarantine isolation order, or the employee is caring for a child whose school or place of care is closed or otherwise unavailable. So this is additional leave beyond the regular paid sick leave that an employee is entitled to receive under California law. So under SB 95, a covered employee is entitled to 80 hours of COVID-19 supplemental sick leave pay, assuming the person is full-time, working at least 40 hours per week for the 2 weeks preceding the date covered. They need the leave. So for others who work part-time, the employee has an entitlement to leave up to the total number of hours the employee is normally scheduled to work. And let's see, if there are variable hours, the employee is entitled to 14 times the average number of hours worked daily for the 6 months preceding the time that the sick leave was taken. If the employee has worked for fewer than 6 months, but more than 14 days, the calculation is to be based on the entire period of work. So let's see. Covered employers must take immediate steps to adjust wage statements, which must list any supplemental paid leave on a separate line item. So you can't link it all in with regular sick leave pay. Excluding regular sick leave, the employer must credit any supplemental paid sick leave hours provided to an employee since January 1st, 2021 for the same purposes, such as hours that were taken under Federal Families First Coronavirus Act. So any leave taken after January 1st, 2021, for which SB 95 would now apply and which was unpaid or paid in an amount that didn't meet the new requirements, the employee actually has to ask for retroactive payment, either orally or in writing. If I were a California employer, I would insist that they do so in writing so that you have a way to document that the request was made Otherwise, if it's an oral request, then and you don't provide it, it's a he said, she said. And in California, we are a very liberal jurisdiction, so you just don't want to find yourself in that position. And the same thing is true if you're an employee. If you're an employee and you want to make sure that you actually get the leave that you feel you're entitled to, make the request in writing. Let's see. So payment after such a request is due on or before the payday for the next full pay period after the request was made. So interesting stuff. This is something that I wasn't aware of until today, and thought, you know, I bet there's a lot of other folks that aren't aware of this, both employers and employees. And it's good to know the law. It's good to know your rights as well as your obligations as an employer, so that you can promptly and timely comply with the law and do, you know, what is legally required for your employees. And of course, the employee wants to receive any leave they're legally entitled to receive. And that way, as a California employer, you're not violating the law. And these kinds of employment laws can be very obscure, little known. And of course, in the climate over the past year, we've had an ever-changing climate of laws pertaining to COVID-19, and it's been hard to keep up. So I thought that I would let you know that this law does go into effect on Monday. So either employer or employee, please be aware that certainly if an employee obtains a vaccine and they need to take time off because they're having some side effects from the vaccine, and you're an employer with 25 or more employees, you're legally obligated to allow them to have the necessary time off. So I would encourage you to review SB95 yourself, get up to speed, and so happy to bring this information to you. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Daily with Christine. Like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and let us know what else you'd like to hear about. As you know, I'm an estate planning attorney. I work with small business owners as well. If you know that you need to do some planning, you haven't gotten around to doing this, but this is the year for you, I definitely know that we can help you. Give us a call. Let us know how we can support you. We'll get things rolling for you to move you closer to getting education and understanding for exactly what it is that you need, so that you can make an educated decision about your next best step. Thanks again so much for tuning in to the Daily, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.